Project Management, MN211, Group 2. Group members, Colin Bond, James Boland, Aisling Boland, Brian Bobbitt, Stephen Brooks, Jeff Brooks. Title of the project: Exploring the use of video capture software during lectures to assist with student learning in Maynooth University. The objective of our project is to create a service for students of Maynooth University to access an online version of specific lecture content that have been previously video recorded if they've missed out on a lecture and personally felt the need to catch up. Defining the project. The milestones of this project are forecasted to be the following. Stage 1. Discussion and approval by the Maynooth University Academic Council. Stage 2. Introduction of the necessary technologies into the busiest lecture halls on campus, for example ETIS JH1 Common Hall, to ensure the video resolution and sound quality meet the necessary standards to give students the optimal experience. Stage 3. Rigorous testing of software used to provide the service to eliminate any bugs that may be present prior to the initial launch. Stage 4. Beta testing by a select number of students who will be selected based on an interview to complete the pilot scheme. Stage 5. Rollout of software begins. Software will be integrated into the Maynooth University Moodle site to allow for easy access by all Maynooth students.
After we had finished defining the project, I set about creating a work breakdown structure. This would break down the project into smaller components. It would also be necessary for constructing the project network. The first step we would need to take was ordering video cameras. This could be done online through Amazon. We would order a camera stand and install an app that would work to live stream videos. Our next step will be gaining approval and permission from Maynooth University. We would need to contact the university, speak to the appropriate contact and hopefully gain permission. After this, we would need to market this new feature to students. We would instruct the university to email all students and instruct lecturers to inform students in their lectures. When the video cameras were delivered, we would contact an electrician to install video cameras. After the cameras were installed, we would contact a software engineer and work with them to set up a live stream feature through Moodle. After all these steps were completed, we would test the new feature with a select few students and gather feedback.
Responsibility matrix. The number on the graph stands for level of responsibility and participation for the users. Number 1, responsible. They have primary control and full credibility as part of their role. 2, accountable. They are expected to justify their actions. And 3, consultant. They are kept in the loop and must provide feedback and advice. Responsibility matrix structure is the use of 2 structures. Hybrid organizational structure is mixed with the normal functional structure. The matrix structure allows for 2 chain of commands. Participants can be both functional and project managers, and the matrix allows for members to work on multiple projects working with their core duties. The advantages and disadvantages. They can be efficient and clear, flexible, clear project focus, which allows participants to be free from their duties. Disadvantages. They can be stressful, slow working on the projects because they can have too many duties, meaning we hard to meet up with other members, and dysfunctional members, some members may not pull their weight or may be working against the participants.
An integral part of planning a project is the construction of a project network. In this process of constructing a project network, a group must first analyse the work breakdown structure. This analysis allows for the creation of a project network diagram, depicting the project activities to be completed and the interdependencies of these activities leading to the most logical sequence for them, their duration and therefore the overall duration of the project's completion. It is important to construct a project network to have the ability to provide information on the project's duration, budget and use of resources. It also aids in the communication of project team members as it depicts the scheduling of activities to be completed and gives a clear understanding of deadlines. In constructing a project network, the order of tasks is shown from left to right. A group cannot continue to move through a network to the succeeding activity until the preceding activity activity has been completed.
There are different types of activities that may occur. A merge activity depends on two preceding activities and therefore cannot begin until they have been completed. The opposite of this is a burst activity, as it is a single activity that precedes two or more activities. There are also parallel activities. These can be undertaken at the same time but independently of each other. Following the creation of the sequence of project activity, it is then crucial to decipher the forward and backward pass times. The forward pass refers to ES. This is the earliest time an activity can begin. The EF, which is the earliest time an activity may finish. And finally, ET, which is the earliest expected time that the entire project may be completed. The backward pass refers to LS, which is the latest possible start of an activity, and the LF, which is the latest possible finish of an activity. Total slack refers to the period in which an activity may be delayed without delaying an entire project. And free slack refers to the length in which such an activity may be delayed by so as not to delay its succeeding activity. The use of both TS and FS must be communicated with all project members, and it can allow for flexibility when scheduling. The critical path of the project shows the longest possible duration of that project. It illustrates the longest possible pathway through an activity network. It is important for guiding the risk assessment and monitoring of activities, participants, and resources. The sensitivity of a critical path refers to how likely it is to change throughout the duration of the project and how much slack can be given to each activity. I have taken our previously shown work breakdown structure and have used the information provided to construct a project network diagram in the form of a Gantt chart. This diagram illustrates the activities to be completed in order of sequence, the forward and backward pass times, the total calculated slack, each activity's duration, the overall project duration, and the critical path. It transpired in this diagram that all paths were critical paths, and the total slack of activities was 0, and overall project duration was 17.
Any project is the stakeholder analysis. Stakeholders are anyone or any group that affects or is affected by the project. Stakeholder analysis is used to identify project stakeholders and their influence on and interest in the project. Pictured is a stakeholder analysis map. This is used to help a project manager group a project stakeholders into 4 broad categories, thus completing the stakeholder analysis. The first is key player. Key players have both high interest and high power. They need to be kept both happy and firmly in the loop. For example, senior management. Next is the meet their needs group. This group has high power but low interest. For example, a support group like the university's accounting staff. Then comes the show consideration group. They have high interest but low power. For example, suppliers or consultants. Finally is the least important group. This group has both low power and low interest. For example, non-academic university employees. Using the map, this project stakeholders were categorized. It was determined that the key players were the senior management, for example, the Maynooth University Governing Authority, the project sponsor, and the entire project office. The Meet Their Needs group is functional supervision, for example, other departments who could lend resources to our project, support groups, and the Maynooth University academic staff. The show consideration group are the beta testers, suppliers, consultants, and contractors. And the least important group is non-academic employees and Maynooth students. Though this project is geared towards them, they will not be in the loop until after the trial period. Following on from the stakeholder analysis, we can develop a stakeholder communication plan. This is used to plan the flow of information to the stakeholders in a project. It determines what information they receive, how they receive it, and who is responsible for compiling it. The communications plan for this project is presented in this table. The first column deals with what the message is. This could be, for example, a status report. The next column deals with the audience of the message, i.e. who the message is for. For example, it could be directed towards the senior management. The when column deals with how often these messages are distributed. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, or even just as required. The method of communication column deals with how a message is distributed. This depends on what the message is and who it is for. fellow project team member could be on a post-it note, whereas a milestone report for senior management would probably be sent in an email and in hard copy form. The final column deals with who is responsible for a message. Often it is the project manager or some member of his team. We plan on sending milestone reports to senior management, the project sponsor and the project manager monthly. Project status reports will be sent to functional supervision, support groups, academic staff and the project office weekly. Issue reports will be given as required to the sponsor, the manager and the senior management. Team status reports will be sent to the project manager weekly. And finally, project strategy will be discussed with the sponsor, the manager and senior management in bi-monthly meetings.
Risk management is the process of identifying, assessing and responding to the risks posed by our idea. Risk management lays out simple steps to follow, which helps identify, assess and react to the risks before the problems become a reality. Step 1. Risk identification is the process of determining risks that could potentially prevent our project from reaching its objectives. Step 2. Risk assessment is the process of identifying the impact of each risk and how it will affect the cost or performance of our project. Step 3. Risk response development. After the risks have been identified, we must then decide what actions need to be performed to reduce the impact of the risks. Live streaming the lectures could result in students missing lectures as they can be viewed at home. Lectures are important for interpersonal development amongst the students of Maynooth and could also deprive students of improving the ability of note-taking and digesting of information. Recording lectures could lead to students developing unhealthy study practices. Students listening to the lectures for the first time before an exam will waste valuable study time, which could cause poor exam results and put students under unwanted pressure. We fear lecturers might become concerned with their habits such as their tone of voice or presenting mannerisms. Lecturers may become self-conscious in front of the camera. They could change how they would usually act, becoming a performer and not a lecturer, which could take away from their class. Lecturers' privacy should also be a concern. Whilst students' trust is important, there is no guarantee that it will be given. As social media plays such a vital role in the lives of our young, videos of lectures could be uploaded to social media in seconds. The lecture becomes an unwanted joke on social media without knowing it. The risk impact scales. I'll be referring to this table in my next slide. Risk impact scales takes cost, time and scope into consideration. Using risk assessment, we can establish what risk bracket our project is under. We expect our project to cost €250,000. Considering the financial resources available to Maynooth University, we expect that it would cause less than a 10% increase to our costs. There wouldn't be a lot of time needed to install the equipment, and lecturers would need a day course on how to use it. This means that our time costs are very low. Using the impact scales, we can classify our project as low risk. By having a low risk scope, it would be very important in negotiating tool when it comes to proposing our idea to the Board of Management. Risk response development. One of our main risks was the privacy of lectures. To prevent this risk, we advise that students must sign a waiver or contract that states the video must be used for educational purposes by students only. This will allow the college to punish students for the wrongful use of the videos. By doing this, it gives lecturers the reassurance that their identity is protected. We believe by making lectures mandatory, we can reduce absenteeism. In smaller lecture halls, this could be achieved by having a sign-in sheet at the door. In bigger lecture halls, where sign-in sheets would be time-consuming, we propose the Maynooth IT department launch a software that means signing into the college Wi-Fi signs you into your designated class. Making lectures mandatory will also solve the problem of note-taking and preventing cram studying. We also believe that a test project could be launched to reduce expenses if the project were to fail. Using certain modules as our case study, we can then record information such as attendances and grades and compare them to stats of previous years in that module to see if recording lectures affects our students, our learning and our results. Thank you.